Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first daily of 2012, Day 9 daily number 393, where we learn to be a better gamer. Everyone has their SC2 New Year's resolutions, and I commend you for coming up with them. Let's talk a little bit about those. Silailin, hell of a name, says his New Year's resolution is to go up one league every season till he hits Masters. Yeah! And with a resolution like that, play a lot. 3 to 5 games a day, bare minimum. At the very least. Oh, that felt great. Oh, yeah, look at this. Shogo SC2 wants to refine his larva injects and not supply block himself as much. Perfect. What we're going to do with the replay portion of part number 2 is look at a silver and a bronze level player. Because I know there's many of you out there, and I know how terrifying it is to step onto that ladder and the scary things that occur. But don't be afraid, because we're going to look at these two players, talk about their New Year's resolutions, and then hear what their struggles were in these various games. And we're not just going to talk about what are ways to improve, but also talk about things they do that are awesome. All right, let's step into Maximilian the Silver Terran. Maximilian says that he wants to be comfortable with all 3 races and at least feel like he knows what to do in the matchups. Terran vs. Protoss is his weakest. I love this. He wants to attack his weakest matchup. It's so easy to fall into that trap of only playing what you're good at, and you are not really practicing. You're just sort of playing the same piece that you already know so well. He is attacking what goes wrong. He says that he wants to also cast a little bit of StarCraft 2 more. Love it. Love it. So good. His issue in Terran vs. Protoss, he has no idea what a general composition that he should do is, or even really what a general game plan is. There's stuff that he tries, but he's unsure what to do with it. For instance, he does try to do things like go for tanks early on. He does this sort of tank play. Should he be doing half bio, half tank? Should he switch to full bio? Should he switch to mech? These are all questions that our good friend Maximilian ended up asking himself. Now, right off the bat, I can tell you that Maximilian's timings in this early game are not half bad. He's getting up all the structures that he needs to. Come on, build that tank. Yeah, look at that Marauder tank coming on out. Has another barracks about to churn out some stuff. Not forgetting supply depots. Delightful. And I'm certain there are so many of you out in or yonder world who do have this sort of experience where, I mean, look at this. The money's low. We're throwing our mules down. We're getting a good amount of SCVs up. But there's no shape to it. It's like building a castle with a whole bunch of sand. You can't... I'm not going to use that example because lots of people build castles with sand. In fact, they're called children who are happy on beaches. It's like trying to build a castle out of angry cats. It's hard, you know? You enjoy cats, but you just don't know how to piece them together into a place that you can live. Maybe I didn't need the analogy. Maybe I just could have said, there are many silver players out there who are good at building things, but they don't know what things to build. Yep. Good. Great. Perfect. Fantastic. My New Year's resolution is to stop talking more often. So we see Maximilian advancing out. He's getting great siege mode, all sorts of them, upgrades. And I love that Maximilian is taking the initiative to be aggressive. It's so easy to fall into passive mode. Maximilian is not doing this. He's against the Wrath of Ire. That is, I actually really like that name. That's like pretty cool. Just rallying things in. Seems pretty reasonable. Getting an expand up. Looking good. And look, Maximilian's money is indeed quite low. He is being aggressive, but then things like this will happen. Maximilian correctly retreating everything. But then the tragedy occurs. Oh, Maximilian. Sieges up, builds bunkers, but bunkers are nothing because every single Protoss unit is a direct counter to the bunker. That was a joke. That was a little bit of a joke. Bunkers are good. But unfortunately, this bunker is not enough to withstand the force of the mighty Wrath of Ire. So, I want to get all meta for a moment. What do I love about Wrath of Ire? Well, Maximilian. As you've heard, there's quite a bit delightful about this. Also, the number one thing that I love about Maximilian is his ability to question himself. He is clearly doing things in this game, but these are not answered questions we're seeing. This is him just trying stuff. I'm going to try a tank marauder marine push. I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to see how it ends up working out. Is that right or wrong? If someone says, is that right or wrong? To me, that sounds like someone who's tried it and has had some success with it, but doesn't know if it's necessarily the right thing to do overall. It's hard to know. So here's something I want to say to all you beautiful Silver Leaguers out there, Silver Leaguers. And, well, yeah, I guess I want to say silver and bronze. I want to tell you the following. I want you to pick 4 units, and those are the only units you are allowed to make in the game. Pick those 4 units. They can be a different 4 for each matchup, but make sure you're only picking 4 and just build those. I kind of want to say 3, but I think that there are some situations where you need to do that. But let me take a simple example. Terran versus Protoss, Maximilian. What 4 should he pick? I'm going to choose Marine, Marauder, Medevac, and Viking. Cool. If Maximilian came to me and said, well, I want to open up by getting some Banshees. No. That's not one of your 4 units. Crunch it down, scope it down. And what if you say, well, Sean, I've never really watched that much StarCraft 2. I don't know anything about this Marine, Marauder, Medevac, Viking mix you're talking about. I mean, as someone who casts StarCraft every single day for the last 2 years, I can tell you that standard, but what if you don't know that? Any of you lost Terran players out there? Hell, any of you lost silver, bronze players out there who don't know even the general units that you should be making? I want you to, right after this daily, watch 5 games through really quickly. Go to any replay site, SC2rep.com. I want you to go there, watch 5 of them in the same matchup, like 5 Terran versus Protosses, 5 Zerg versus Zergs, 5 Zerg versus Terrans, whatever race you play. Look at what 4 units they're building, and then only build those units. If you were watching Stefano play, and you watch 10 games of Stefano, and you don't see him build any Hydras, don't look for a reason to build Hydras. Just say, alright, well, it looks like Stefano's going Roach Corruptor, and Zergling, and Broodlord, and that's it. Those are the 4 units that you are now permitted to make. Keep it really clean and simple. And this comes to an idea that I want all those beautiful silver bronzies to think about. Every single matchup, I want you to have 2 things in your head. An opening, and what core units you're going to make. And if you have nothing else in your head, I'm fine with that. Here's an opening. I want to build 3 barracks and then expand. Cool. That's my opening. And what core units do I want? Marine, Marauder, Medevac, Viking. That's it. Just those units. I just want you to think in those terms. If you are playing at that silver and bronze-ish level, you will be able to macro your way with that ideology all the way up to diamond. You'll be able to battle your way. Keep it simple, simplify it, and look through lots of replays for inspiration. So to dear Maximilian, who had this struggle, who doesn't know what to do, I'm going to tell you, pick 4 units, and you are stuck with those 4 units for the next 100 games. Do not doubt what units you're working with, because if you've watched a lot of pros do them, you're going to be in good shape. Yes. Now, I want to point out something really quickly here. You can do other things, like pop over here to your good old base, and note things like Maximilian, when his barracks finishes, oops, he doesn't build an orbital command. He builds another SCV. These are little glitches in your play that are not nearly as important as just keeping your money low, knowing what 4 units you're going to build are, and only thinking in that nice small box. Yeah. So awesome. I want to actually hop into a bronze level players play because I know there's many of you beautiful bronzies out there. And keep in mind, even if you get the bronze medal, that still means that you placed. You are in top 3, baby. Yeah. This is Neverland. He's our pro-tossing player. Let's go ahead and breeze through this game to see sort of how it ends up panning out. Now, a little bit about Neverland. He says that his New Year's resolution is to work on macro. Macroing while he attacks is one of the big ones. Interestingly, what Neverland points out in his email is that he's just not sure what he did wrong. He is not sure what ended up going awry. He had an idea of a build he wanted. He has a sense of what the unit counters are. His macro isn't that terrible. His micro is reasonable. But there was the grody experience that Neverland had in this game where he was convinced that he had it won. And then he ended up having a surprise loss end up biting him in the back. Now, what we're going to see Neverland do, right now Neverland, this opening, I have to stop right here and point out that you, dear person at home, you, I know you, you watch way too much StarCraft. And you are looking at this and you are going, ugh, OGS MC doesn't do that. Of course OGS MC doesn't do it. There's a huge difference between what OGS MC does and what you do. Even if you're a Diamond or Masters Leaguer, and especially if you're a Bronze or Silver Leaguer, who we're talking to right now, right? There's a huge difference between that. In particular, this opening that Neverland is doing with this 3 Zealot Rush, it may very well work out. There's a lot of strategies that you're going to do that will end up working out. What I don't want to do is beat you in the head and say, MC doesn't do it. You will watch MC and you will do exactly what he does. What other people do should be inspirations for you to try other things. But always remember, they're your games. Do whatever the hell you want. And if you want to improve and get better, that's great. You can be doing kind of the wrong thing. Like, for instance, only working with 4 units. That's technically wrong to do, right? You don't see OGS MC say, well, I wanted to build a 5th type of unit, but Day 9 told me I could only build 4 different kinds of units. That's actually very clearly incorrect in a general game sense. But if you only let yourself build 4, you can think a little more clearly. Remember what league you're in and just play for your own league. Don't go crazy and try to be MC. You'll stress yourself out. And StarCraft shouldn't be stressful. It should be fun. It's a fun game, damn it. So we see the Valiant Micro. Oh, look at Neverland pulling the Zealot back. That's what I'm talking about. Does end up trading Zealots. In that Units Lost tab, we see identical evenness. Now let me tell you something I love from our good friend Neverland. It looks like the enemy, Zorglub, is building a bunch of photon cannons for defense, a classic mistake. Neverland does no such thing. He's expanding. His money is staying relatively low. And here is a curse that can end up happening. Well, I don't really want to say a curse. It's actually the most normal thing in the world. Now, I know I say the most normal thing in the world at least 4 or 5 times a daily, but this really is the most normal thing in the world, okay? What I'm about to tell you is truly the most normal thing in the world. Not really knowing what to do. Not really knowing how to improve. I should be clear because a lot of times in a game, people will say, you know what, Void Ray seems best here. But I'm talking about after the game. When you look back and you say, how did I mess up? I don't know. I have no idea. I have no... We talked about our silver player in the last game we examined, Maximilian, knowing exactly what went wrong. Having clear questions, I don't quite know what I'm doing here, and this sort of thing. So NVR land. Ooh, God, I love that rally point. Ooh, that's beautiful. I still want to note how low his money is. Spending chrono boosts, getting out his warp gate upgrades, all looking good. And already look at how his food is climbing ahead. Now, there's one thing that I want to point out that's happening right now. The hidden expansions coming up. NVR land. Ooh, how tragic. Not quite having a structure to that. You know, how do I end up scouting this? I mean, I know that scouting for expansions sounds as obvious as I want to scout the expansions. But I want to turn it into more of an action item, right? Let's speed through the game. Speeding through at ×8, encoder danger zone. If you're experiencing massive lag, then that makes a lot of sense because my computer is having to crunch incredible amounts of data at a remarkably rapid rate. Now, what is the clear issue you might be seeing with Neverland? Well, his macro is getting slipping a little bit. It's not getting terrible. I'm seeing a big variety of units: Immortals, Zealots, Stalkers, Blink, Void Rays. We're going to see some Phoenixes come in here. And the tragic moment happens when we see some pushing begin by Zorglub. He's unable to break through the front. And soon enough, Dark Templar starts swinging in from the backside. Now, suffice to say that there's about, I would say, 10 minutes or so more left of this game. We'll be breezing through. I still want to note what NVR Land's screen looks like. He's expanding in reasonable patterns. He's continuing to attack relentlessly. He's poked around his opponent's base, seen nothing. He just hasn't scouted the other side. And this is where the Dark Templar come out of nowhere. And NVR Land said that he felt really overwhelmed at this point. Really, really overwhelmed. And he felt like he was just waiting for his opponent to lead, but his opponent didn't. Now, to be fair, NVR Land identified his macro as not so bad. For a Bronze Leaguer, he had his money really low for a long time. It only really spiked up in the last maybe 5 minutes or so. If we actually back up to around, exactly 5 minutes ago, this is the first point when his money climbed high, and he's still doing far better than his opponent. The one thing that I really want any of you Bronze Leaguers out there to do, if you're feeling like you don't have any direction, here's the first thing that I want you to do. I want you to, in your head, or if you're like me and you like writing things down, write down 4 or 5 ways to improve that are just sort of general things, like having an exact build order, having really good macro, constantly building probes. Things like these. List them out. Pick one of them, like, hell, let's just pick probe building. Let's just pick a finger at random here. Let's pick probe building, right, as the one that you choose. And ask yourself if you're doing it perfectly. That's something that I think can sound very scary to someone new. But I would just pick one thing, try to do that one perfectly, and just limit yourself even more, right? Like, hell, only 3 units in the entire game. Only 3 types of units, like a Zealot, Stalker, Colossus. Just pick 3. Make sure you do that one thing properly. And you know what is one thing that I want to throw out there? Here's an action item to make it fun. Here's something to make it fun. You must attack at the 10-minute mark, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Starting at the 10-minute mark, I want every Silver and Bronze Leaguer out there to attack at 10 minutes, and attack at 15 minutes, and attack at 20 minutes. You must attack. If you're mid-attack and you realize you're going to lose, pull back. But suddenly, by me telling you, you have to do this. Not only does your game become a lot more fun, because you're trying to do all your crazy micro battles and everything becomes all interesting, but also there's this clear goal. There's this build-up to an event. I want to come back to the gross period that happens so often in a Bronze League game. Right here at 8 minutes. Let's go to the NVR Land cam. Let's open up this thing. Yeah, overlay's now open. Wrong player is selected. Right here at 6 minutes. I'm actually going to move to 10 minutes. Okay, so right here, where we don't have a real goal. I mean, we're taking expansions, which is in general good. We're building probes, which in general is a good thing to do. We're building units, which in general is a good thing to do. These are all things that we want to do. We're getting forges. We're getting Twilight Councils. Where is it? There's a Twilight Council. This is great. NVR Land is not sitting statically He's progressing forward by getting more buildings, getting more bases, building more units. But very often in bronze and silver, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Don't worry, I'm telling you what to do. You're going to attack, man. You're going to go ape shit. You know what? Let's level it up a little bit. You're going to go bear shit, okay? That's what you're going to do. Every 5 minutes, you're going to freak out and attack, and this will make your game fun. Ooh, now I got to start an upgrade earlier, so that way I can have +1 attack by the time I go bear shit, right? This is the thing that I want you to do. Cool. So notice that what we're doing is we're taking all those goals that we have and establishing some fun action item to do that's simple and clear, and we're just going to knock it dead one at a time. That pen went everywhere. When we come back into part 3, I want to step into Diamond and Master League for our last 2 games, where we're going to watch a gentleman by the name of... Oh God, it's not Chief Bear. I think it's Chief Bingo. Is that it? What's his name? Oh God, I can't believe it. Chief Banjo! Damn it! Oh God, and I know I should remember this because I love Banjo-Kazooie. We're going to watch Chief Banjo try out a new strategy, and then we're going to watch UNC Jeff struggle against early Zerg all-in possibilities. When we come back, let's continue to celebrate the new year of SC2 and just tell ourselves that we're awesome. Doom, 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 doom.